This is Radio Nepal. I'm KAUSHAL GHIMIRE with the news. The headlines first. Prime Minister Shehbaz Dewa directs concerned stakeholders to complete the vaccination drive against COVID-19 on time. Prime Minister Dewa stresses on to make the economic groups access on public education. House of Representatives meeting of the Federal Parliament scheduled to be held at 1 p.m. this afternoon. And the World Health Organization urges for cancelling some holiday events over Omicron fears. Now the news in detail. Prime Minister Shehbaz Dewa has directed all the concerned sides to work in a bid to protect people's lives from COVID-19. Addressing a virtual meeting with the chief ministers and chief district officers of all 7 provinces regarding special vaccination drive against COVID-19 yesterday, Prime Minister Dewa called on them to conclude the vaccination drive on time. The Prime Minister clarified that the government's topmost priority at present was to protect people's lives from the COVID-19. Prime Minister Dewa also expressed his belief that the government's target to vaccinate all people against COVID-19 by mid-April would be accomplished. Also speaking on the occasion, Home Minister Balkrishna Kant said the government was making efforts to make the vaccination drive a success. Likewise, Communication Minister Gyanendra Bahadur Karki urged the communications sector to play a more active role to help government accomplish its target. Similarly, Finance Minister Janardhan Sharma vowed to provide necessary budgetary assistance required for the vaccination drive. Likewise, Health Minister Birod Khatiwara stressed the need for expediting the vaccination drive as the risk of COVID infection of new variant was growing. The chief ministers and ministers of various provinces said they had expedited vaccination campaign in their respective province and vowed to continue awareness program against COVID-19. Prime Minister Shehbaz Dewa has said the government is committed to providing equal opportunity for education to all citizens despite their varied socio-economic status. Addressing the 47th convocation of the Tribhuvan University in Kathmandu yesterday, the Prime Minister stated that the government was committed to ensuring higher education to financially and economically backward people. Also, the Chancellor of Tribhuvan University, Prime Minister Dewa, said that it was the responsibility of the nation to create a conducive environment for everyone to obtain higher education and utilize their own talent and creativity for the sake of society and the nation. The Prime Minister also advised the university to continue with efforts for infrastructure development, education, and other reformative efforts. Also speaking on the occasion, Minister for Education, Science and Technology Devendra Paudel stressed the need for practical education that would help the graduates translate their skills and knowledge for the betterment of their life and of the whole society as a whole. Minister for Education, Science and Technology Devendra Paudel has directed the Teacher Service Commission to open vacancies for the vacant post of teachers in lower secondary and primary level. During a discussion with the office bearers of the Teachers Service Commission yesterday, the Education Minister instructed them to announce vacancies for vacant 13,093 posts of teachers. Chairman of the Commission, Madhu Prasad Regmi, informed that the Commission was making preparations to announce the vacancies on coming Wednesday. A total of 220 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Nepal yesterday. The Ministry of Health and Population confirmed the number of infection while testing 4,141 samples. Likewise, 263 people recovered from the COVID-19 infection yesterday itself. Similarly, a person died of the virus infection yesterday, taking the corona-related death toll to 11,574 in the country so far. Yesterday's meeting of the National Assembly has been postponed till further notice due to the obstruction by main opposition CPN-EML. The meeting called for Prime Minister Shehbaz Dewa to table the annual reports of the National Dalit Commission for fiscal year 2019-20 and 2020-21 was obstructed after EML lawmakers stood from their seat in protest shortly after the commencement of the National Assembly's session. the National Assembly was postponed without entering the business schedule as the CPN-UML lawmakers continued the protests, insisting the House could not move ahead until their demands were addressed. The protesting UML has been demanding action against UML lawmakers who have faced action at the hand of the UML before they went to the other party. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is meeting at 1 in the afternoon today. CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has said all political parties should be united to fight against regressive forces. Speaking at an interaction organized by Socialist Press Organization in Kathmandu yesterday, Chair Nepal mentioned that parliament obstruction was an example of regression. Chair Nepal shared that the alliance formed against the regression would be continued in the upcoming elections and later too. He also expressed belief that the alliance would continue even after the election, as none of the political party would get majority in the election. Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Prem Bahadur Ale, has said that land acquisition would gain momentum by arranging budget of 1 billion rupees within a week for Dhangadi Airport upgradation. At a program organized at Dhangadi-based Nepal Tourism Board Sudur Paschim office, yesterday, Minister Ale shared that the ministry was working to manage budget for the airport's construction. You're listening to Radio Nepal's 8 a.m. English News Bulletin. On to some international updates now. The World Health Organization has urged people to cancel some of their holiday plans to protect public health as the Omicron variant spreads globally. According to the World Health Organization's head, Dr. Tedros, an event cancelled is better than a life cancelled, he said, adding that difficult decisions must be made. He added that there was now evidence that Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. Meanwhile, the White House said on Monday that President Joe Biden was not planning on locking the country down. The country's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, earlier warned that Christmas travel would increase the spread of Omicron even among the fully vaccinated. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Monday that the government needed to reserve the possibility of bringing in new rules in England as Omicron cases surged but did not announce further restrictions. At least 375 people are now known to have died after a powerful storm struck the Philippines on Thursday. Super Typhoon Rai, with winds of about 195 kilometers per hour, sent some 400,000 people running for safety when it hit the country's southeastern islands. At least 500 people were injured and 56 others have been reported missing by local police. Rescue teams have described scenes of complete carnage, but establishing the scale of the losses is difficult as communication to a number of areas has been cut off. There are fears of widespread landslides and flooding may have claimed more lives. Now the general weather forecast for the country for today. According to the Meteorological Forecasting Division, the weather is likely to be partly cloudy throughout the country. Kathmandu's weather report for the past 24 hours, the maximum temperature was 17.4 degrees Celsius and the minimum was 3.2 degrees Celsius. Well, that's all the news we have for this bulletin, but before wrapping up, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Shabada Dewa directs the concerned stakeholders to complete the vaccination drive against COVID-19 on time. House of Representatives, a meeting of the Federal Parliament scheduled to be held today at 1 p.m. And the World Health Organization urges cancelling some holiday events over Omicron fears. Well, that's all the news we have for this bulletin. Our next bulletin in English will be at 2 in the afternoon. You can also listen to us online at our website www.onlineradionepal.gov.np. Also, do check our English news portal at www.onlineradionepal.gov.np/English. Keep listening to Radio Nepal and have a good day.